Solo me up at the beginning, Jules.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve. This is Live with Neve. Iconic musicians, comedians, and entertainers of all types. Interviews, comedy, and God knows what else. Hold on!
All right. Here we are, Live with Neve. We're coming to you from high in the Highlands overlooking the beautiful Atlantic Ocean and New York City, the best city in the world. It'll get better once things sort down with the COVID and so forth. Anyhow, it is Christmas Eve, and we are glad you're here. I know a lot of you have been sticking with the show for a long time, and I can't tell you how happy that makes me. So today's show is kind of special. It is Christmas Eve, and we have a very, very special guest who's just an amazingly talented guy. And by the way, before I bring him on, Billy Crain played with the Outlaws for years, and Billy, I'm telling you this off camera, but Terry T-Man from the Convention Center in Nashville sent his regards, and he'll hopefully be joining in with us in a little bit. If not, he'll ask you a couple of questions. But so for everybody watching, Billy is an amazingly talented melodic guitar player. I'm going to ask him where you can find all this stuff, but I'll tell you, you can just look at Billy Crain, C-R-A-I-N, on Facebook, and you'll find all the stuff. But we're going to talk to him and get him to kind of give us, the idea of what he's been doing the past 50-something years. Again, we're glad to have him on, and I'm going to let it roll. So let's roll and say hello. Julie, let's bring everybody on. There we go. I don't hear you, but I see
Merry
Billy
Christmas.
now.
Merry Christmas.
There you are.
Billy.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hi, Julie. Hi, Neil.
Hi.
Merry
Christmas.
And back at you, man.
I like Neil's got on
everybody.
Well, you've got the Santa cat. Where's your beard and stuff? You grow on like me.
Yeah, you got the little soul patch going.
Yeah, that's about all I got.
I just can't really deal with it for too long. I used to have a beard down to here like ZZ Top and long hair, and I look so different now. Nobody who knew me back then they'd just be like, nah, that ain't the same guy at all. But what the hell, I'm still here, and I do grow a beard occasionally. I just hate it after a while. I'm like, it drives me nuts. So I must say, you're looking good, man. Retirement or semi is treating you well.
Oh, God's been really good to me. It's been a long, hard road, but it's ended up being a great journey. I tell you what, I would have dreamed that I would have ended up where I am right now. Being a father again at 66, so
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats, and you don't have any of that. Sometimes people think of musicians or something as big, untouchable people and have a big ego and stuff. But I've never gotten that out of any of you guys in the Outlaws, not once. I never get any of that star trip. You stay after shows and do autographs. You guys are all good guys, and I've seen you a number of times. Starting, we go way back. You didn't know me, and I didn't know you personally. But I moved to Tampa in '76, and when I was in boarding school in Massachusetts, a friend of mine gave me a copy of the Outlaws, and I went. The Green Grass and High Tides were on there, and at the time you guys had opened up for The Who, and I was just like a kid going, wow, I'm a New York kid, I'm moving to Florida pretty soon, this is going to be pretty cool, these guys are great, and I did my part by buying your stuff and proselytizing to my friends up north. They're like, used to playing jazz, and I was a total jazz fanatic at that point in my life, but I like everything, and I always have, and it's funny how if you keep an open mind, you could pretty much make friends with anybody musically. If you
absolutely.
It's just a fun thing. So tell us, let's begin. How did your career start with actually, before that, when did you start playing?
I started playing when I was 7. My older brother, Tommy Crain, who was in the Charlie Daniels band for years and years and years, who is deceased now, but May rest in peace. He used to let me play chords and stuff on. He had an acoustic guitar, and we were listening to the Kingston Trio stuff, and he showed me 3 chords. I think it was E major, A minor, and G. And I worked on those chords for months, but we grew up playing together. Move the story along. In high school, he was in college, I was in high school when the Allman Brothers Band came out. We'd both seen them when they were the Allman Joys, and we're very familiar with them. And when they came out as the Allman Brothers Band, it blew our minds. We've been listening to the British Invasion and all that stuff all through the 60s. And this blues music came along, and it was a life changer for us. So we ended up being in a band together called the Flat Creek Band, which was had a pretty good following in the Southeast region. We tried to break out, come up to the Northeast and stuff. But I remember we went all the way up to Rhode Island to play this one a week there. And they thought we were a cover band, and we came in there and we're a cover band. We played all the Allman Brothers stuff, man. That was our one night to the Northeast. But so we get back, band eventually falls apart. I kind of go out and play different places. Tommy comes and joins Charlie Daniels' band in, I think, 74. So he's doing that, and I'm kind of messing around. Hadn't got anything very cool going at all. And I get a call from Paul Hornsby down at Capricorn Studios, and he said, Bobby Whitlock is needing a guitar player. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah. This guy played on Derek and the Dominoes and Delaney and Bonnie. And so I went up to Cookeville, Tennessee. He's playing this little bar with my guitar, and that was it. And he said, okay, you're hired. Get in the car. I didn't have any clothes or anything, man. A friend of mine had to run back to Nashville and get me some stuff. And I took off with him for a year, running around the country in his Red 57 Chevrolet. It was hilarious. And I finally got a call back around September 1977. And it was Henry Paul was calling me. I knew the Outlaws. We'd done show. They come and sat in with our band in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's how I met those guys in 72 when I was in Flat Creek. And they opened a bunch of shows for the Charlie Daniels Band, and I would be with my brother, and I got to know them all pretty well and hang out with them. They were great guys. Mm-hmm. And so Henry left the band in 76. So 77 or 78, he called me and left messages in Memphis. I was playing with Bobby Whitlock, and I thought Bobby was going to take off, and I don't want to do this. And for like 3 months, he kept trying to get in touch with me because he said, you're the guy. He finally called my mom because he knows my mom, that I'll listen to my mom. And she called me and said, Billy, you need to call Henry Paul down in Tampa right now. He's got a record deal on Atlantic Records. And I was like, oh, that's a game changer. So I called Henry. Nice. And he said, yeah, come on down. We're putting this band together. So I went down there, and it was me and Henry and Jim Fish, the other guitar player. Then came in Barry Rapp, who was, a co-writer on Grey Ghost, and Wally Dents from Tight Shoes, if you remember those guys, and Bill Hoffman, the drummer, that was playing he was playing in a jazz bar down there. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I remember Bill. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
He's still down there in Florida. We did a couple of reunion shows, Henry Paul Band shows, 3 or 4 years ago, and then we were supposed to do one last year, but the COVID, shut it down. Right. So we get together out there. We're rehearsing out there in Lutz in this orange grove out in the middle of, and this guy named Bobby Generone had a house out there, and he let me and Barry, our keyboard player, and Stimble, our road crew guy, live there, and for like 3 or 4 months, and we were out there in the winter. It gets cold in Tampa in January.
Oh yeah, especially if they're actually Julie's lives up there now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was going to ask you, do you know any good practice spaces up in the Wesley Chapel area, Lutz area?
Oh, Look out there in the orange grove. There's some old hippies out there that would probably love for you to have to come out there.
Okay, that's what I'll do. Thank you. Yeah, we were looking.
Hey, Julie, it's funny you asked that. Remember, our friend Goombie has a great performance space down in Ybor. So,
he does.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, our friendship with all these Tampa people, it's great. I just love hearing everybody's stories from the past. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Julie's up there, and she's living in the Grove and fighting with the cable company because they're awful.
The internet company, they have like a monopoly here, which I don't understand.
So when you call in for service, they basically go, maybe next week, okay? Forget about it.
No, they just pass you around from one department to the other and tell you the exact same thing, the exact same processes you've been doing for like 6 months, and you still have no Wi-Fi. And they keep telling you, well, it's like a joke. It's a big farce, right? And you're like, so losing your mind irate, but
we have Comcast here, and they're not too bad. They take care of business, but they come a long way because it used to be the same way. You just get passed on from person to person to person,
right,
and then you're cut off.
Yeah.
And then you wait another 3 hours. We could talk for hours about it. I mean, seriously, I've been with the show. We've been on hold with the streaming company. I got on hold Verizon here. And
CenturyLink is who I'm with.
Like pulling
CenturyLink.
teeth out.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, because I kept explaining, we do a webcast and all of that, and they keep sending me free things.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, yeah, but that are
spending money,
right?
Yeah,
exactly. Instead of things actually getting fixed, they just keep sending free new things with the hope of it's going to get fixed, to satiate me for like 2 weeks before I call back in mad.
So getting back, when you guys were rehearsing in that place, how long from that point did you actually have to start touring with the guys?
We let's see, we started rehearsing in January, February, and March. We did a couple of dates around Florida, and then we started working on the record with Ron and Howard Albert down in Criterion down in Miami. Nice. And they had engineered Derek and the Dominoes, Layla. Right, and we had Don Gaiman, who was our engineer, who ended up producing John Mellencamp during his heyday, was an engineer. We did this record. We did one show that Atlantic set up for us. It was the Stones were getting ready to come back on tour, and they played over in the Lakeland Civic Center just as a test show. And we get this call. I think the show was on a Saturday, and we get the call on Thursday. Said, "Do you guys want to open for the Stones?" Nah, I don't want to. No. I mean, it was like shells of shock. Open for the Stones? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, so we got to go over and open for them, and that was really cool. Then we got the album Grey Ghost came out. I'm trying to think.
Had to be like 78, I think.
Yeah, it was 78. It was.
I played that when it came out a lot of times.
and they threw us, right on the road. We went out in a camper for a while. We found out that campers aren't made for rock and roll tours, and then we moved to buses. But yeah, we were doing 250 dates a year. Going out opening for Charlie Daniels a whole lot, and Marshall Tucker Band and Winters Brothers, and just everybody. We did a whole lot of dates with the Allman Brothers Band, which was just my dream.
Yeah.
I never dreamed that one snowy night I would get to sit up most of the night in Philadelphia with Dickie Betts in his room playing guitars with him. Man, it was like,
oh man,
this guy's my, my role model.
We just interviewed his son, Dwayne, who is
a
great kid, man. I just love him, man. His dad raised him well. He's a real gentleman and a nice kid.
How old is he now?
I'm guessing he's somewhere around 30.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
I remember
that he played with Dawes, which I was unaware of. And the reason I like Dawes is because they're one of the few bands that play a Warren Zevon song on TV. And I found that cool because I liked Warren a lot as songwriter.
Yeah.
We actually, a few years ago, some friends of mine and I had a small role in starting the ZCon, which is a festival where, we play music, have a great crack band, we have special guests come. This year we had, because of COVID, to do it virtually, but this, I believe, was the 4th year that it's gone on. And, it's a lot of fun. And we've, on the show, I've had his road manager, George Gruhl. I've had his wife, Crystal, had his girlfriend. I've had his biographer, C.M. Cowling, who I'm having a brain fart. I think I pronounced it right. Sorry, I know he's out there going, man, you are getting old. You're forgetting every damn thing. But,
don't get me started.
He's writing a great book about Led Zeppelin. He also wrote a killer book about Warren called Everything's Bad Luck. And it's really, he did a great job because a lot of biographers kind of focused on his more tawdry aspects of his life and less about the person he really was below the headlines, which is where, I don't believe anything I read in the press because I just figure they're lying about something. And it's even in entertainment, half the time, that's one of the things I think is lacking in modern late night television that I'd like to change. And I say that because watch out, Fallon, I'm kicking your ass. What I mean by that, though, is
you need a guitar player in your band. I'll come and do it.
Absolutely, me too. I'm going to send old Questlove back home, man.
We have a trio right now.
We do. Right now, we could get up and play some music. And do
we really do.
Gosh.
I love Sin Lawyers, Guns, and Money is one of my favorite songs in the world.
Absolutely.
And then Kid Rock had to come and ruin it.
It's funny. I've been trying to get him at least into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Have you guys got in yet?
No, I don't know if that ever will happen. People have pushed
it's such a political bunch of BS. I hate to say that for anybody who's involved in it, but it's just, my idea of rock and roll, there's a lot of fine players. Like, I don't know, Janet Jackson got in there before you guys, so I rest my case. No offense, Janet's a very talented woman. But it's not rock
absolutely.
And roll.
No.
It's like, come on, guys, just have it. There's, we have R&B awards. We have, again, I have nothing against it. I love it, but just define it right. So my friend Paul Neumann is an attorney, a music attorney here in New York. And we met actually at the ZCon. There was a table at the back for everybody who was like, I had T-shirts I had got there, and I was a vendor, and I was going to play that night with him. I played Big Gorilla at the LA Zoo, strapped the glasses right off my face, took the keys to my BMW. Anyhow, that is really a great fun time. Brian McDonald is the guy who hosts it. Tremendous musician. He's like we are, old guy who's played his whole life. He's still playing, working, and he just had a great idea. Him and another guy named Amber Fry. I think that was his name. No, that was a chick on TV. But at any rate, Amber Lynn, that's it.
Yes.
They came up with the idea, and along with a friend of ours in Europe who's since passed away. But at any rate, getting back to it, you were playing with the Allman Brothers, hanging out with Dwayne. That just had, even for me, that would just be like such a cool moment.
This was after Dwayne had died. I saw him play a whole lot in the Allman Brothers band when he was alive. Matter of fact, when when Dwayne died, for my brother and I, it was devastating. We looked up to these guys so much. This was when they came back on with the Enlightened Rogues album and tour.
Right.
They got back together then. And, but we were doing that and opening these shows for them. And I got to know all the guys really well, and they treated us just super. And then we opened a lot of shows for Molly Hatchet too, man. Me and Dave Lubeck. Oh my gosh, we got more trouble.
I partied with those guys once, and
you don't want to do that.
You can't imagine, I just tell you, it was a lot of fun. And I don't
party
recall a whole lot of it after the show. I just tell you, it was a late night, and we were having fun. And I don't drink anymore, but back then I sure would drink.
Me neither.
Moonshine and all kinds of crazy shit,
Okay, so I've been on one. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead, Jules.
I've been on one tour bus. Okay, Queensryche. Okay, now I want to hear your stories.
Oh my gosh. Which one? I tell
You
you
pick.
we did a lot of tour. I tell you the craziest the time we had was we decided we were opening up for Charlie Daniels Band in Houston in the Rockets Arena there, whatever that turned into, whatever that preacher's name, I can't even remember his name, turned into 20,000 seat mega church. And Taz from the Charlie Daniels Band, the keyboard player, decided he was going to ride with us. And we commenced to go straightly to the liquor store and get a bunch of tequila. So, we're drinking tequila all the way there. And Taz just thinks this is the coolest thing in the world because they could drink on their bus, but we could just do anything. Henry, he was right there with us, man. And as long as we showed up to play, we were okay. And we just partied our butts off all the way there. And I remember I was so hungover when I got up, I was throwing up all the way up to showtime. And I made it through the show, and I went right back and went to bed, man. And it was just like we would just do crazy stuff on the bus. But the craziest was when we did a whole lot of shows with Risington Collins, and I could be great friends with them. I would go and ride on their bus, and Alan would have me come up and play on Freebird, which was such a nice. I think about it now, what an honor,
Absolutely.
And I was actually on stage with them the night in Oklahoma City, Norman, where University of Oklahoma is, when Alan Collins' wife died, and we were out there playing Freebird, and I'm looking around. Everybody's really happy. All the road crew was crying, and there was just this sadness. We ended the song, and they just jerked Alan right off the stage and put him on a private plane and flew him home. And then they told everybody what happened, and I was so angry. I was just angry at something, which was probably really at God. I went back to the hotel room and smashed the wall and shattered my wrist, and had to go to a specialist out in Denver, Colorado, and get it kind of pieced back, and it healed okay. But what a powerful thing. And when Alan came back, he came back, a week and a half later. He got right back into it, but you could tell he was never the same.
Well, yeah, that kind of a loss, it just turned your head sideways, and you may never pull it back again. I know that is.
I couldn't imagine.
I have to tell you, especially the past year, I know that things I take so much that I used to take for granted that, now I'm just like, wow, I am a middle-aged guy. And here is this it? Is the pandemic going to kill us all gradually, or is it going to kill a bunch of us? So who knows? I don't worry about it much because there's nothing I can control over.
No.
It's above my pay grade. I'll leave the guy upstairs to do what he thinks is best because I don't know what else to do.
Two things I know: that Jesus is still king, and the kingdom is not in trouble.
There you go.
All you got to do is remember that, and it doesn't matter what happens. You're right. You have to leave it in His hands. So
Absolutely. You are so right, and it's so hard sometimes. Like, especially in your personal life where you feel like you should have control. And that's you never have control.
You don't. While we're sitting here, I just noticed one of our guests, Brian, had a question. He wants to know if you have any funny Molly Hatchet stories, just about the carousing kind of thing. I know I opened up for him once. It was a lot of fun.
I'm trying to think, man. I remember... Well, we were playing in Lakeland, Florida, in the Lakeland Civic Center over there, and we were opening up. Henry Paul Band was opening up for Molly Hatchet. And after the show, I got on the back of the bus with Dave Lubeck, and he had a big bag of, stuff you stick up your nose. Yeah, medical herb.
You didn't have, no. It was alleged to be Inca pep rally stimulant.
That's exactly right. And we got back. My ex-wife used to always say, "Let's just do one more and go to bed." I went, Who does a line and goes to bed?
Oh, really, man? The worst thing, I don't do anything like that. It'd probably kill me. It'd be like a dog chasing a tire, and I bite the tire and get my head run over.
I think I'd probably just fall over dead, and if I even saw it,
Well, I haven't done anything like that in years. The last time I did it, I was on a plane to Amsterdam, which I guess we were pre-partying. I had just gotten married. And all I could say is Julie was there to witness this was a solemn affair. It was kind of like, I should have known it was going to get weird when I heard the theme from Jaws being played as they brought the bride down the aisle. When you got friends like mine, man, you got the world. I have the best, funniest friends in the world.
Oh my!
You hear this? It was like.
I know. Sorry, it's my fault. It's my fault.
I like your sense of humor, Julie.
Thank you. I
like that
as well. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, Julie and I are still friends. And for everybody who ever asks, no, we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. We are great friends, and we have been for 30 years. I gave her a hall pass,
10
for introducing me. But it wasn't her fault. I've told you, Julie, she could never have told me anything. I was just, I was a 40-year-old guy. I was not thinking with my brain. I was thinking with other portions of the anatomy, and I'll leave them unmentioned. It was a lot of fun, though. It was a real hell of a party. That's all I can tell you. Anyway,
yeah, well, I'll tell you my coolest Molly Hatchet story is Dave Lubeck and I we're very good friends. We both respected each other very much, and he treated me very, very nicely. The whole time we toured, we weren't making a whole lot of money with the Henry Paul Band. We were doing, just enough money to pay the road expenses. Plus, we didn't know the manager at that time was shuffling money off here and there, and it signed away our record royalties. I never got one royalty check, and so we're out there and I'm talking to Dave. He said, "How you doing, man?" I said, "I'm having a terrible time. I can't pay my phone bill." And I had this old 57 Les Paul Special, the TV model ones. They were kind of a yellowish white color.
Low impedance jack on it?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. It had a regular quarter inch and then
no. It was a regular. It was a quarter inch. So and it had the same kind of pickups. Is this the P90s? There you go.
P90s. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
he reminds me of Leslie West. He P90 King, man.
But Dave, I said, man. Dave said, well, how can I help? I said, well, you buy this guitar. I need $175. He said, sure, man, I'll do that. And I sold him the guitar, and we got off tour. And the next time we came out on tour, he goes, want to see your guitar? I said, yeah, man, I'd love to. And he brought it out, and he had it restored back to the original finish, which was that yellowish kind of whitish color, and had all the things and had it fixed up. And he said, you like it? I said, man, that's great. He goes, it's yours. Aww. And I was like, wow, no way, what man. And I still have it. I play slide on it now. Wow. And it's a good memory, since he's gone. And he was, they were super nice guys.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was just such a cool thing to me that, that he would, because he had, I forgot how many. He told me he had 87 guitars or some absurd amount. And
right. It's one of those things. I've I like people who are generous, but it's genuine. It's not some BS.
Yeah.
It's funny. You make me think of I had my guitar player up here before the holidays, and he's a young guy, and I just love him to death. He plays. He's just brought a little young spark to my band. His dad plays. His family goes back 7 or 8 generations in Ireland. They've always been musicians.
Wow.
And I will tell you what, Austin and his dad both, I love playing with them. They're working on some stuff that I'm putting together. And it's interesting because hearing a father and son play together, it's like, when you played with people, it's like glue when you're playing with them. Even if you haven't seen each other in 20 years, you sit down. And it's like I have been, my first recording experience was in, I want to say 77 or 78, and it was at Paul Hayes Recording in Tampa. It was a little place down in McDowell.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
So I got dragged in there. I was in a band back then called the Shogun Band. And we played Southern rock. We played all of your songs. In fact, everybody you've ever toured with, we were a Southern rock band, plain and simple. And it was amazing because we left our gig at 2 a.m. I'm the youngest guy in the band. I'm like 17. We're going to the studio. And our lead guitar player, like, all those guys were in their 20s and 30s and had wives. And I was just this like 17-year-old going playing gigs while I was doing my last year at Plant City High. And I just, it was a crazy time. I forget what I was going to say about what we were doing. It was just.
You were going in the studio.
Oh, right. We went in the studio. So these 2 songs, one of them was called Nasty Now. And that song was sort of like a Dixie Dregs tune.
Dry Later.
I'm still right here talking to you. If I had to tell somebody, if I was producing a record, I could walk in and tell the drummer, okay, here's how it goes. You're going to go diddle 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 dum diddle diddle bum bum ba da dum bum ba da dum. But the intro was really like this Dixie Dregs freaking guitar thing. Then we kicked into the song. But, here I am. Now, I'd recorded hundreds of things as a kid. I record over my grandfather's medical tapes because I found a reel-to-reel I found 2 of them in all these tapes. I immediately decided I'm going to be the next, Phil Spector. I'm going to be in the basement with 2 microphones and kill the world. And I probably did, because anybody who listened to those recordings would say they really are awful. But
No.
Yeah, I've got all my first recordings. Our first recording was Tommy and my band Flat Creek, and all the road crew from Flat Creek Band ended up going to the Charlie Daniels Band. So we went in the studio Audio Media here in Nashville in 71.
Oh, yeah.
And so we Buzz Kaysen is the guy. He had written these huge smash songs for U2 and other stuff, but he let us come in and record for free. And when we packed up the lead, Roger, our guitar roadie, decided he was just going to take all the microphones with him. he moved them over to our chest, and Tommy gets this call from Buzz, and he goes, "Hey, Tommy, can y'all bring my microphones back?" So we had to take them all back over there and set them up. But Plant City High, Monty Yoho. Monty Yoho's dad was the coach there too, or a teacher, right?
I believe he was. That was before my time there. I basically matriculated at a boarding school up in Massachusetts.
Oh,
and
man.
I came to Florida for my last year of school, which was great. I took driver's ed. I think I may have taken home ec, so I could go in and hang with the chicks and get fed all day. I took art, which I really dug. Again, I could hang out with all the artsy chicks and, hey, what's happening, baby? You're so talented. I've always had a soft spot for artistic ladies. They get me every time, man.
My and how many of those are there?
She's a painter, and, all I could say is I fell again, that first session I did was so horrible. They were like, "Shut up, Neil, play it again." And like after Nasty Now, like I felt like a corrupted, burnt piece of like an old coconut you see on the side of the road. After it was like 2 a.m, we get there at 3. We go in, playing some strange kit, and then the guys in the band, like after the 4th take, are just like, "Oh!" So they're all in there, totally freaking me out. And then I said something to a guy, our guitar player. I said, "Dave, maybe if you do it," he just looks at me. He goes, "Listen, if I need to hear any shit out of some greenhorn drummer 17, I'd ask for it. So just shut the hell up and play it, you son of a bitch." And I went,
throw a drumstick at him then.
Yeah. Well, so I tell you what, though, I wanted to do good. I'm here in this band, and it was actually funny. We had 2 drummers, like the Outlaws, and what happened was
what a nightmare.
Well, yeah, it can be. Well, it's funny. When I learned to play, at first, I did not know the Outlaws had 2 drums. So I'm like 12, 13. I'm playing like a one-legged ass kicker in a paper hanging contest. And I'm like, I'm out of breath, man. I could do the hell out of it. I still love playing all those syncopated rhythms. And, like if you have a good percussionist like Goombie, I love playing with I love playing with another drummer if they have the same attitude I do, that we're here to play off each other's support. This isn't Battle of the Chop Stars,
Right,
Just
right.
play a nice groove and let everybody that feeling is so lost. I mean, think about how music's produced today. There's no room for a guitar solo. I mean,
Oh
half the
no,
songs don't even have one.
no,
And, it's weird.
that art it's disappearing.
Yes.
A few records back, I wrote a song called "Last of the Dying Breed," and it's about how the guitar players they're dying out, And it's
Sure.
a good thing that we have bands like Allman Betts and
Yes.
The guys from Atlanta. Oh, my mind is just. I can't
That's
remember
all right.
anything.
Okay.
What are the guys from? Come on, what are their names?
From Atlanta.
Almost had it. Blackberry Smoke. There we go.
Oh,
Those
Blackberry
guys,
Smoke.
yeah,
We just love those guys.
awesome.
Man. They are kick-ass
Awesome band, and
Yeah,
they're carrying on and keeping this
absolutely.
kind of music alive.
And they're
So,
unique enough that it's obviously who they grew up listening to.
absolutely.
But it's cool because they really are. You can always tell. Like I say, it's not faking it and just stealing something to make yourself something you're not is not cool. If that's
you're
just
right.
it's an artifice that you put on like a clothes change. I will say it's like to me, music. When I go in to do it, it's the best part of my day going on, and I just sit down with a room full of great people, and I'm in the happiest place I could possibly be most of the time. That initial excitement, and then when you do something. I mean, you've done it. You've been doing it so long. I'm assuming you've had plenty of times. You got in there and you're in the right mind, and just like one take, two takes, done.
Well, that is the mindset nowadays in the studio. If you don't get it by the third or fourth take, move on.
Right.
Because
You're right. You have to.
The old school way, we play that dead gum thing 30, 40 times until
Yes.
we had
Right.
this perfect take. But I played on Shania Twain's breakout record, and Mutt Lang was the producer, and I was scared to death because he's famous for cutting one note at a time here and there. He was easy on me, but the guy before me, Paul Franklin, who's a really famous steel player, played lick after lick after lick, and I was just blown. I was going, man, listen what he's playing. He goes, do it again, and I was like, what's he going to do to me?
Do you remember a guy named Danny Jones? He used to play with the Bellamy Brothers.
I played with the Bellamy Brothers.
He was a slide player. He passed away.
He was a steel player. Wally Dents from the Henry Paul Band and I, the Henry Paul Band kind of came apart in '82. We just weren't touring much and making any money. So the Bellamy's wanted to kind of upgrade their band. So they got in touch with Wally and I in '83, and we went out and auditioned for him. And it was Juan Perez on drums. Danny Jones was playing the steel, Wally and me, and Little John, the piano player from Orlando.
Right.
But I worked with Danny up until he moved to Canada.
Wow.
And where did Julie go?
Where is Julie?
Julie, where'd you go? Oh, there she is.
Oh, there she is.
But I worked with Danny, and he was such a nice guy. And when he died, that was so sad.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I had some good times with him. I was working on Kenny McGee. We were trying to get him a country flavor rather than his usual heavy rock thing and metal. Kenny's a great guy, and I like him. And we hired him on steel, and I felt bad the way he passed away. He was supposed to be going on a trip to Canada to go on tour with the Bellamy Brothers. And what happened is he'd had a bunch of DUIs. The guy was troubled,
Danny did?
What's his face?
Kenny?
Kenny.
Danny
Okay.
Jones.
Yeah, Danny had.
The way it was relayed to me is, now I knew him pretty good because he played for me at my studio on a bunch of projects, and he was a hell of a nice guy. But, he had his problems, as we always do. And I used to have that window of time when recording him that make sure he was focused and on the ball. Because when he was like that, man, the guy could just tear it up. He was an amazing player. I mean, there's people down here, but they're all equal except for him. He was way above. And it was terrible. What my understanding is, he went to go over the border, and the Canadians said, you got like 4 DUIs, but you can't come in. And that kind of was the beginning of his, really tough times, and I miss him. It was sad to say, but I will always admire the work I got out of him, because it was just, we'd be in the studios and I'd be peeling paint off the studio ceiling from playing his rig through a Marshall or something, He's just a crazy guy. He's like, I don't want to use that. I'm like, hey man, we got a Fender Twin right here, 100 watts of clean, pure sweetness. He's like, no, I want to use that one. And I went, whatever, man, your gig. And he tore it up every time. He also ran into my gate once, much to my wife was like, you guys are out there at 4 a.m, and all of a sudden I hear this boom. We had a brand new gate in the driveway, and he ran right into it. And then he sat in the driveway for a half hour or so, and I'm like, man, I'll get you a cab, And he just looked at me and goes, no, I don't need a cab. It's not far. I was living in Plant City up in Antioch. And he wandered off. I was like, oh my God, you could sleep in the driveway or do something, but he wouldn't have it. And that was just one of those funny nights I remember. He goes, I'm sorry about your gate. And the next day when I talked to him, I didn't want to bring it up and tell him, man, you ruined my gate, I just went and got the gate repaired.
I got him back for you, so we used to do some heavy drinking on that Bellamy Brothers bus. When I joined, they had no band rules. When I left 5 years later, there was a list this long up on the front bulletin board. Man, oh no, yeah, exactly. No drinking for the show, no dope smoke, all this different stuff that I still did anyway. But I would get so drunk, man. The bus was laid out. You know how most buses have the bunks or down the sides. Mm-hmm. Their bus was set up. They had a big room in the back where David used to sleep until they moved their own bus. And then the other bunks were lined this way. So every time the bus stopped, you roll forward, or it moved, you roll back. And then you would come out into the hallway. You go right back to David's bunk, or you go left up to the front lounge where the bathroom was. Well, I got me and my friend Jack Daniels one night in we were Albuquerque, New Mexico. I got up in the middle of the night, and I took a left I took a right instead of a left. No, I took a right. It's the back race to the left, and I went and I turned into where Danny's bunk is, and I turned and I thought I was in the toilet, and I peed all over his clothes. And you know how nice Danny is. Next morning he goes, Billy, you peed on my clothes. I said, I'm so sorry, Danny. I had to take them all to the wash to the laundromat and wash them all for me, get them back to it. And then I turned around and did it a week again later. He's Billy, what do you have against me? I said, I don't have anything. I drink too much. That's why I don't drink anymore.
Well, it's funny because one time I don't drink anymore, and so I'll put that disclaimer out here. My friends know it's a good thing. It's a good thing, But I recall once coming in from a late night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was just a mess. Wonder I didn't hurt somebody or myself. My wife, she was used to me coming home late and hanging in the studio for an hour to kind of decompress. I hadn't hit the Waffle House on the way home, So I'd be out there, I'd turn on the monitors and fool around with whatever I was working on in the studio and chill. And one of those times, I stumbled back into the house, and I thought somehow in my mind that I was still at the club or wherever I was at. I was God's own drunk that night. So I walk into the closet, and I did the same thing. I thought I was in the restroom. So I started peeing on the floor. My poor wife. Darla, I love you. You put up with a lot, hon. But all I could say is I hear her. She goes, Neil, what in God's name are you doing? And I said, I'm hitting the men's room. And she was just not happy with me at all. And,
okay.
That's why I don't drink either. So you have a story to tell, Julie? Have you done something like peed on your dad's clothes or?
No. Okay. So two things. First off, one of the reasons why I stopped drinking was because every time I was drinking with a certain person, I'd end up being a story the next day.
I was one of those.
Yeah. So it's I couldn't do it anymore. Right. I'm tired of being stories all the time. Secondly, Wasn't me, but it was a former colleague of mine, who did the exact same thing. Was staying over at another colleagues of mine's house because he was too drunk to drive home. And in the middle of the night, he had gotten up, went into the closet of my buddy's house, and peed on his stuff too. So apparently
seems to be a common problem with middle-aged men. I don't know.
Apparently so. And it was the funniest. So when you both said that, I was like, oh my God, they all do it. I guess that's the thing. It's a closet. I mean, why not?
Right.
It's kind of like the bathroom, you know?
Yeah. It's like when you go into a dressing room at the mall. I feel the same way. Suddenly I have to pee.
All right. Well, hey, one thing I know that's always popular is road trip bathroom horror stories.
Oh, God.
You kind of think of riding across Europe with, say, Cannibal Corpse, and they've got 3 bands on the bus with them, and all of a sudden there's overflow.
That's not right.
It's like, oh no, man! I was not present for this, but
that's like the Sweden Rock Festival. They don't have bathrooms. There's a wall. You just go over and you pee on it. And everybody, it's just a normal thing. You look over there, there's a line of guys over there peeing on the wall.
Well, where do the women go?
I don't know. I didn't want to know. I was a little worried about that, No, I think they didn't have bathrooms for the women, but for the men, they had this big wall, and you just see them line up and pee right. I said, "Where up pee?" They go to the wall. I was like, "Whoa."
Well, then I feel a little bit better. Us chicks can have a bathroom, and you dudes just have a wall. So
we just get the wall. That's right.
Us guys, we're always fine about letting the ladies use the bathroom at the concert. Over the years, I've seen more than one woman. You're waiting in line. You go on, honey, take care of business. I mean, we're all adults here. In Europe, I remember one of my particularly frightening episodes was in Brussels, Belgium, and I went at the train station to go to the men's room. And as I walked in, I realized, well, it's a unisex bathroom, and it's a line of stalls on the right, a line of stalls or urinals, and then there's an incredibly scary looking Russian woman who stood there and decided, I felt like I was going to get pushed into the, take the line to the left. It leads out the door. You're out of here. And you have to tip them as you leave, or they kind of get upset because they go in. I will say this is very clean. After you're done in there, she goes in, cleans it out. Oh. But I'm standing there waiting for the urinal, and there's an extremely large gentleman behind him. And I use that term loosely. He looked like he was Paul Bunyan, for Christ's sakes. Guy's like, yeah, you'll get out of my way. But I hear him zip from behind, and I'm just kind of like, so I turn around to look at him, and he's standing there with his junk in his hand, and he's just standing there like looking at me, and I'm like, and then you get up to the stall, and I'm kind of like, all right, come on, you've been trying to pee for an hour. This guy's freaking me out behind me. And anyway, that lady just terrified me too. She was big as like a linebacker, but just much shorter. And I knew she'd worked hard her life. She would have torn your arm off. This skinny rock and roller would have been beaten to death by a But, that's funny. We've degraded. We've gotten down to toilet talk.
Yeah, we have. How did that happen?
You want to play some guitar, man?
Sure, man.
All right, Julie, go ahead and run a spot while he's getting ready, and we'll be right back. Julie Crain is going to play some.
Follow, subscribe, and like us anywhere you find webcasts and on all of our social media to get bonus material.
Oh, I'm back already. I'm still around here. I'm fooling around with Justin.
I'm sorry you got all the things on the
Okay, here we go. I'll put it down. Get this in front of me here. Nothing's quicker than heroin, I once heard a good friend say. Right through your veins and straight into your brain, while the world just washes away. Can render your life useless, cause it's mean, vicious, and ruthless. And nothing's quicker than heroin to get you 6 feet underground. There's nothing worse than dying on a cold one-way street. When life gets in your way, it knocks you off your feet. There's nothing quite as lonely as when your family disowned you. But heroin and whiskey will kill you, and that's the truth. Nothing's stronger than a whiskey when you reach the breaking point. There's no return. Cross the bridges you burned, and every tear stained $1,000 joint. One more shot and you're gone, cause the world has done you so wrong. Yet nothing stronger than whiskey to put you 6 feet underground. There's nothing worse than dying on a cold one-way street. When life gets in your way, it knocks you off your feet. There's nothing quite as lonely as when your family disowned you. But heroin or whiskey will kill you, and that's the truth. Whoa. Now here's the payoff. Nothing's bigger than Jesus when your back's against the wall. When you're down and out and need a hallelujah shout and a real soft place to fall. If you want a true friend, hang on to the bitter end. There's nothing bigger than Jesus when you're feeling 6 feet underground. Nothing's worse than dying on a cold one-way street. When life gets in your way, it knocks you off your feet. There's nothing quite as lonely as when your family disowned you. But heroin and whiskey will kill you, and that's the truth. Will kill you, and that's the truth. Will kill you, and that's the truth. There you have it.
Sounded good,
awesome.
man.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was great.
Really cool.
I loved it.
That'll be my I got a new CD, my 7th. It'll be coming out hopefully by May. It's okay. With the COVID coming and everything, it just made a mess of the whole year. And
I know. It's been a mess. It's been hard, but that's great.
Tell us a little bit about where to find your stuff.
Oh, golly. You can go to www.billycrain.com. You can find all my CDs and T-shirts and stuff like that on there. CD Baby, of course, carries everything. You just Google my name and you see tons of videos and just about anything. And you you can get any CD or whatever, and I always sign them too. And the
Oh, nice! Yay!
yeah, I try to do one thing. I've always heard, with Facebook, you got all these artists, big artists. I don't consider myself a big artist, so, but they get on there and
You are.
they they post all this stuff and playing songs, and then people ask them questions, but they never answer. So I've always tried to keep a policy that, like we just did a fundraiser. I work with a disabled vets, and we did a fundraiser for them the other night, and I can't 300 or 400 comments on there. And next day I get on there, I answer them all.
Absolutely.
And people really, really enjoy that.
Absolutely.
It brings you down to just a normal person instead of, this rock star persona that you're given.
Well, if I may say conversely, though, it's more, this is how I felt it. I have felt it more as the rock star is not under control at that moment. The rock star can be their own person. They can be who they are in their own skin, and be down to earth, and take the time and have the time to be able, and the energy to be able to talk to everybody like that. Because that, to me, that's always what it felt like. It was not like you guys were rude or anything, but you had so much stuff to do all the time, and it's a lot to ask for. It's a lot to ask for, but if you can, that's great.
It's like my friend Keith Urban. He can't just go out and do normal things like normal people is. He's such a huge star. He's going to get swamped, and it's really hard if you think about Elvis and John Lennon and all those people.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think it says a lot about artists when they take that time. I know I try to respond to everybody who comes on the show, and I like to become friends with people and have friends for life. I don't just use people.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, like you, I was politely persistent, and I don't ever get upset if I ask somebody to come on. I'm looking to have kind of a relationship, a friendship over time. If somebody has a new record coming out, I want to talk about it, because ultimately right now, everybody's just trying to make a living and it's harder than I've ever been. And, I feel terrible for all the service people who work at all the gigs and the businesses that support them, the truck drivers. It's a mess and it's hard. And at the same time, there is some good art being made, which there's some silver lining. A lot of people have taken this time to reinvent themselves, so to speak.
Right.
And, that's a good thing. I know I'm an old guy. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Here we go. I'm on that edge of sneezing. Hold on, I'm going to turn my mic off.
Gosh.
Oh!
I hate it when it.
Bless you.
Bless you. And then it goes away.
It's like right stuck here.
It is.
Anyhow, I do appreciate you taking the time to come on. Do you have any good holiday plans going on with your family?
Well, we were actually going to have our family come over here tomorrow. There would have been 11 of us. Tennessee has been number one in COVID breakouts for quite a while now. It just now dropped to number 2. Our county, Rutherford, is right behind Davidson County, where Nashville is the worst. So they have recommended, mask all the time and no gatherings of 8 people or more. And so we follow the COVID guidelines. We really do. We're churchgoers. And, a lot of people get upset about the mask, but to me, we wear them because we're concerned about other people. I'm concerned that I could be asymptomatic and I don't want to cough on somebody and give it to them.
Of course.
So we decided, just me and my wife and our 2 adopted children, Dallas and Stella, we're just have Christmas here and it'll be beautiful. It's about
Absolutely,
Jesus.
man.
It's about Jesus anyway. So
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
And I wish
celebrate.
you a really nice Merry Christmas. And
you guys too.
thank you so much for coming on. I mean, I really appreciate it. Here we are on Christmas Eve, and that just says a lot about you, man. I really, I wish you nothing but goodness over the holidays. And heck, if you're back on the road again, I'll see you all next time you're, up here in New York. And stay in touch, man. Because
okay,
I'd love to find. Asbury Park's just a couple of miles down the street from me.
Oh, nice.
So you always got a place to stay, man. Give me a call sometime if you're in the area. We'll hang.
All right, Neil and Julie.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Right. Merry Christmas, everybody. All right, everybody.
For bonus content, extras, and all sorts of cool goodies, become a patron. Go to Patreon. Live with Neve.